to the Cultivator podcast. I'm your host, VC. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you listen to right now. We have two special guests with us this afternoon. Could you, say your names?
Sure, Genae Williams.
And I am Marq Williams.
All right, thank y'all for stopping by. We're going to get to why y'all are here in a little bit. First, let's start off with an icebreaker. Would you rather have loyalty or respect?
I will say loyalty.
Why loyalty?
Because if a person is loyal to you, you know that they got your back, pretty much. You don't have to worry about them, leaving you high and dry. That's how I look at it.
Okay. What about you?
I guess I'm on the other side of that one. And there's a reason why.
Okay.
So I'd say respect. Because loyalty, there's a such thing as like blind loyalty, right? So
That's a fact.
if you respect a person, that automatically makes you loyal to them because you respect what they're doing and their ideas. And because you respect them, if they are going down the wrong path or something, you will help get them right. If you're just loyal to a person and they're going down the wrong path, you're just loyal to that person regardless of what they're doing. So
you're saying you want some objectivity in your people. You don't want them to just feed you whatever you want to hear just for the simple fact that they're loyal.
I can see that. I can see that.
And I think with having a certain level of respect, you're going to get that type of loyalty. Okay.
I think I'd rather have loyalty because people can respect you and still do you dirty. They'll be like, I got respect for you, and the greatest saying, with all due respect, and then they go on to disrespect the hell out of you. I think loyalty, like somebody's loyal to you, they gonna ride for you,
right?
Regardless how they feel about you in that moment, they gonna ride for you, and I think that has a tad bit more value than respect. Even though respect kind of goes hand in hand with loyalty, but I take the loyalty. Whether you like me today, tomorrow, we may be in a bad spot, but because you loyal to me, you're gonna go that extra mile for me, and that's something I cherish for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about how we got here. Like how we got here to today.
Well, you posted on Facebook about finding someone to do the podcast or whatnot. And at the time, we was actually looking into starting our own podcast with the situation we had. So I was like, let me just look around. And then all of a sudden, I seen your post and you was looking for people. And I was like, oh, well, shoot. Well, let me hit them up and see we can, meet up or whatnot. And that's how we got here.
Yeah, she whatever she was doing, she found you by looking, and we ended up here.
Yeah, what's your favorite saying?
All things happen for a reason.
All things happen for a reason.
Yes.
That's a different topic for different conversation.
Oh, yes.
I don't necessarily believe in that, but it may apply. It may apply. Yeah, I posted a post on the Black Hawaii page, really for co-hosts, for really my R&B show, really, but just people in general. And then you reached out, and then y'all came over. We chopped it up, I got to know y'all a little bit, and then and now we here.
Yeah,
and here we are.
I think it's meant to be, though.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so in our first meeting, we talked about a lot of things, but we talked about y'all's business that y'all have started and are getting off the ground. Could you briefly describe what the business is?
Well, basically, it is a support group, but it's more like a support system for people who has been through like losses or any type of trauma in their life, and they need somebody to talk to. That's what we're here for. We're called Fearless MG because we want to put that in people to be fearless about whatever they may be going through, and to actually be able to just talk about it, because it's hard to talk about a lot of stuff. So that's what we created this whole thing to be, pretty much.
Okay. So in your business, what is did you hear that?
Yeah, it said low battery.
Uh-oh. Is that Bluetooth speaker over there, probably?
Oh, that was the speaker. Hey, you might cut that off. It's a switch on the back.
What thought that was that.
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening. I was like, this can't have a low back. This
Yeah,
is put it to the
that's
wall.
what I was like.
Yeah, but it's all right. So what is y'all individual roles in the business?
Well, he is the mastermind behind the logos and the designs, the artwork, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm more behind the computer, fixing the website, making sure everything runs well, the financial side, all that stuff.
Okay.
So
So what about as it pertains to it's time to work? You got your clients there. What are y'all roles in that aspect?
So you saying as far as like, just a regular setting as far as them
like,
coming to us?
How you go into an interrogation, with the cops, you got good cop, bad cop, somebody to soften you up, somebody to shake you down. What is y'all roles as far as that, if you haven't defined yet?
Well, not necessarily defined. So it's more or less like me is, I believe my role is first listening, and then just providing a point of view.
Okay.
Listening and providing a point of view. And
pretty much like, being a support. Like if you go to a counselor or whatnot, you just need somebody to talk to about a particular situation, then that's what we're here for as far as from what we went through. And we can also, like, people who have not talked to anybody about that, they can come to us and expect, oh, okay, I can finally have somebody that can relate to me.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because all in all, it's going to be like two main outlooks on this. One is going to be the emotional side.
Female.
Right. Emotional side. And one is going to be the side of support.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, man, there's times for certain things, and there's times you're going to break down.
Yep.
But you have to understand that through it all, you have to be able to support each other.
And get up.
Okay.
Get up.
When that camera gets to 26 minutes, let me know. Like when it gets to like 25, 30, just give me a signal. All right. So let's get back to y'all. So how did y'all two meet? Let's get into the history of y'all for a second. How'd y'all meet?
All right, I'll let you talk about this for a little bit then.
Me?
Yeah, absolutely. You go first.
We met at a bar, because I say it in the briefly way. We met at a bar.
Where's the bar at?
We're Virginia.
Okay.
So we met at a bar. I seen him. I walked up to him. I thought he was with somebody, but thankfully he wasn't. And I made the first move.
You made the first move.
Yeah, I shook his hand. And I said, my name is Genae,
Wow.
Caught me
was so-
completely off guard.
You seen what you wanted and you went after it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I
Hi.
mean, he was doing karaoke at the time. I didn't know. I thought he was leaving out the door, so I grabbed his arm and I was like, hey, my name is Genae, and it just went from there.
Yeah, and
It went from there.
the thing is that night wasn't even supposed to happen.
It won't.
At all.
It was not. It was not.
But you know why it did, right?
Because all things happen for a reason. That's why.
There we go. Everything happened for a reason, see?
Yeah, so it was funny, at least from my point of view, is that it was in Williamsburg where we met, and my brother was in because he's on one of the surface ships, and they pulled in for like an onload of whatever it was, ammunition, I believe.
Okay.
So it's just like, all right, he wanted to hang out. He knew I was in Virginia, and I had to take that drive. I think it was like 45 minutes or whatever, and I was like, man, I'm about to leave because he took too long to answer me back. Like, all right, I'm about to head out, man. I'm not waiting here any longer. So I was, right when I was about to leave, it's like, hey, man, you gonna come through or whatever? Yeah, we're out here partying and stuff, and I'm gonna need a DD. And I was like, all right, man, I got you.
Okay.
I
It was
got
pretty
you.
crazy that night.
Pulled up there, dropped him off, and him and his friends were having a good old time. I was like, you know what? I feel like singing some karaoke. It's karaoke night.
Okay, what song were you singing?
It was Neo, Independent Woman.
Independent Woman.
Yes, that's my go-to karaoke song.
And look, she came right up to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happened for a reason, right?
Happy
So-
for a reason.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit into y'all dating. At what point did you know that he was the one? Or you probably knew off the jump, huh? 'Cause you came right up to him.
Honestly, I did not. I did not know he was the one
Okay.
until like later on we started like, okay, he's doing more than any other guy that I've ever been with.
What do you do
So-
like specifically to show you something different?
He was there. He was like the most supportive man I've ever, like anything I needed, it was already like provided. Like I never had that before, like especially from where I come from. Mostly the woman is doing most of the work and like providing for the man and, you know, stuff like that. But with him, I just didn't see any of that with him. He just took care of me. So.
Okay, what about you? At what point did you realize that she was the one?
Yeah, I was a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, I don't see, for me, I would say I felt those conditions immediately.
Okay.
Like the first day.
Like at the bar.
At the bar. And it was something, I don't know what it was. It just like, it's like, okay, I'm leaving, I'll see you later type deal. And I hugged her.
Yeah,
right? And I was
hugged.
just like, it felt different. Right?
It felt right, huh?
It felt perfect. So it's like,
Emotionally, that hug made me confirm like this right here is something different. But over time, like you said, it was more like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing for real what this guy is really about.
so yeah, it's like,
so
it was the hook right then. Because, you know, first you cast it and then you hook in the fish and then you got to fight to get it there. So that set the hook then.
Okay, okay. Detail to me the proposal.
The proposal.
I'm gonna let him go.
So it wasn't like a proposal traditionally. It was more of like a statement, because we had conversations about it before like several times, and it was, hey, we gonna do this.
So it wasn't
like
a traditional get on one knee.
No, it wasn't.
Will
like
you
that.
marry me? It wasn't that. It was this is what we gonna do.
Yes, because, and how I believe relationships should always be that before you even get married, you're fulfilling that role as a husband and a wife. So it was just like, all right, we're already doing this now. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like, me getting down on one knee. Of course that would have been nice, romantic, and
storybook.
Yeah, but
I didn't really care about it. Yeah. I didn't really care about it because we both came out of situations to where we've been there before. So it's like we already knew where our head was when he came to me and I came to him. It's like, look, hey, we already. You know?
At what age did y'all meet?
Ooh, how old?
Lord, how old am I now?
Oh my God! Wow. When you talk numbers, well,
right now I'm about to be 30.
Yeah, so I met him when I was, I'm gonna say 29.
Yeah, and I was
roughly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 34.
Okay, how old are y'all now?
I'm 33.
33.
Yeah, and I'm about to be 37.
Okay, God bless. So y'all been married for about what? 4 years? 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how many times was the marriage almost over?
Honestly, not too many. I'm just speaking from my perspective. Mm-hmm. Not too many from my part. We had some ups and downs, and we had times to where we did not want to be around each other. But ending it, no.
Okay.
It was.
So it never came to a point where like y'all were close to calling it a quits.
Not in that perspective. So it always like. Go
ahead, baby.
Like when people are going through disagreements or something, that's always something that goes in the back of your mind, whether or not you say it directly or you absolutely mean it in that time. You're just like, this don't work, this, that, and the third. This may have to happen. So along those lines, that happened a few times. But it was never like, okay, let's sit down, we're doing this right now.
Okay.
And then talk about moving steps forward. No, we haven't gotten to that point.
Right.
And I think the reason it's gotten that way because you look at marriage as a choice.
Yeah, it's a decision
it's
every day.
It's a decision every single day to be with a person, to continuously love them, regardless of the situation that you're in, whether you hate them in that moment because they didn't take out the trash like you told them to, or you love them in that moment because they picked up a little piece of candy from the store just to brighten up your day.
So
it's little things, huh?
It's the little things that matter.
Okay. Well, okay, let's go back to talking about your business. So your business, correct if I'm wrong, it is counseling and giving support, and it's a program for couples that have went through miscarriages.
Yeah, so initially it wasn't starting out that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It evolved into that.
It evolved into that.
So initially it was more along the lines of like apparel, getting designs and graphics for shirts,
like t-shirt
clothing.
business.
That's where we started at. And then the name Fearless has always been there. So fast forward us trying to have our own children, and then we suffer losses, and then we're trying to find help and support for us. How? Because we both go through our own different things, how our grieving
Right.
processes are different. So we're trying to find some assistance, at least to talk to somebody about it. And it was almost non-existent.
Yeah, it's really not. It's
No
like
one-
a dark world that nobody knows about that world until you go through it. But when
Yeah.
you go through it and you need to talk to somebody, there's nobody.
There's nobody there really
So
to
that's
help you
what
out.
made us like, hey, let's turn this into a whole different thing here.
Okay.
Yes. So from our experiences trying to shift our focus on the business and provide some sort of, I would say like retreat or some sort of counseling or some sort of support system for people that are going through this or have gone through it.
Okay, and you said you guys have went through that experience personally.
Yes.
A miscarriage. How many times have you guys miscarried?
3.
3 times.
3. When was the first time?
Wow. The first time was May last year.
Okay.
That was the first time.
Okay, so take us through that experience from your individual perspectives.
Okay.
The first time.
Well, the first time, from a time of trying to get pregnant to now, it was incredibly difficult. But when I lost my first baby, it was kind of different because I didn't know how to really feel about it. I didn't know, because it was my first time being pregnant, just learning my body, how all that stuff works. And then when I lost it, I was like, okay, this is new. It completely changed my whole perspective of pregnancy.
Right.
The whole thing. So for the both of us to go through that together, and we both never been through that, it was hard. It was extremely hard then.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking. And then after that, and actually on top of that, you get upset.
You
get
change.
angry because
You change.
you don't know. You try to do everything right. You don't know what happened. You think like, hey, you start blaming yourself. What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? We took all the precautions, did all the steps,
Go to
followed
doctors.
doctor's orders, and talking to doctors after the fact, they haven't given us any clear information or why it happened.
Right.
So it leads to being upset, confused, and some people start blaming themselves as well for that.
Or blaming each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
as well.
What was y'all's support system like at that time? Your friends, your family, coworkers,
Us.
colleagues, things like that?
Us.
It was just y'all,
Us.
It
huh?
was
Us.
us. I talked to some people at work, and with them, they are obviously supportive in any way that they could be. But it was just us. Us at home. First, a little bit we're at home because we don't want to go out. We can't
Yeah.
sleep in the bed. And
Okay.
then it's, hey, we need to leave this house because we can't stand here.
Right.
Because we've been in here for so long. And then
Right.
over time, the pain is still there, but it starts to dull a little bit.
But it's still,
But it'll always
still
be there.
I can imagine. With having 3, after the first one, the second one, now the third one, does the grieving process and the bounce back get any easier? Because
It
you've been
gets-
through it before.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It gets, I wouldn't say easier, but it gets more, okay, now I understand what is going on. I can't even say understand. I say tolerable to a certain extent. Because
Okay.
after you went through the first one, it's like, oh my God. Then the second one is like, oh my God. Then the third one, because we was so far, and then it happened out the blue, we was not prepared for any of it. So It never gets easy. It never gets easy. You just learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to.
Yeah, easy was the wrong terminology. More tolerable, or
it gets tolerable, but in a very frustrating way. I put it that way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But
So, for me, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't get any easier. It's just you already learned ways to deal with those emotions as they come from the first one.
Right.
So it's just doing it again, and then it happened, and it's doing it again, but it doesn't get any easier dealing with it.
yeah, it's almost like you don't want to expect it, but because it happened before and it's always in the back of your head, it's like,
Yeah, and
you just prepare yourself just in case.
And looking at it from that perspective, it makes it more challenging to look forward to pregnancy because it has happened before, and then that's in the back of your mind, just like, is this going to happen?
Is it going to happen again?
Is it going to happen again? I don't know what I do if it happens again. Please don't let it happen again, type deal.
Right. Paint a picture for us, the days, weeks, and months following a miscarriage. Like, how does that impact the household? How does that impact a relationship, a marriage?
Oh my God. First, you have to be rooted. You have to be rooted in the marriage. I'm going to say this. You have to be rooted in God. I'm going to say straight up, because if you do not have a support in God, it's going to be extremely hard to be in those four walls, and it's just you and your spouse. And, you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're hurt by the loss. And then, again, how do you say your marriage, How do you talk to each other? Stuff like that.
Right.
From the first day that it happened, the next day, the following week, oh my God, I can't even explain. But it's so much that be going through your head, like you lose your appetite, you can't sleep, you can't do anything, you can barely work. That's why I say it's been us strengthening each other,
right,
and depending and just still trusting in God that this is all for a reason, because we're here right now. So in our business, I know that God wanted to do something with that. So if this is his plan to do that, then by all means, let it be done. But, this is not an easy role. It's a very painful role.
I would think
indeed.
so.
Yeah. So even with that, she was a mother and her body changed for that.
Yeah.
So now your body is still balanced in that way.
Right.
So it kind of plays tricks on your brain too. So like my body is telling me that I'm pregnant, but I know what happened 2 days ago. Yeah. And it's terrible. Like, and I can see it on her face. And the only thing I can really do is kind of sympathize, because I do not know exactly how she feels in that moment.
Right.
So not only am I trying to deal with my own grieving, I'm trying to be her support at the same time, and it gets difficult, and some days are better than others. And even to this day, when we think back to the first one, it still affects us just thinking about it. Sometimes when I'm driving, I think about, hey, this is the road I had to take to go somewhere.
Yeah,
and it's just
that's
like
another thing too.
And sometimes the flashbacks will hit you every once in a while, but over time it gets more tolerable. Over time, the grieving process gets a little bit easier. But with this, it's nothing that you can't never forget it.
Okay. This is my last question before we take a break.
Okay.
Have y'all accepted or had the idea in your mind that having kids the natural way just may not happen for us?
Yeah.
And have y'all come to peace with that?
Yes and no.
Exactly.
Yes and no. I have thought about that, and I was like, considering adoption, considering someone else carrying our baby. I mean, everything, just to see if it's a possibility. But you know what? My faith, man. I got crazy faith, and I know it's been 3 already, and each one I got further along, but it's just, no. I want my own child. I want to carry my baby, and I want to have a baby with my husband, and that's what I made my mind up on. And we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to do the research and go to the right doctors and do all this stuff again, but I'm not giving up. because that's what I want with my husband. And I know what God has promised us. And I'm going to stick to it. Even if I don't see it in this lifetime, I'm going to stick to it. I'm committed.
Okay.
So, and I'm exactly the same. So when she was talking to me about adoption and surrogacy, and I was, no, that's me 100%. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You know.
I know my faith is one thing, and it's in there. And then it's my stubbornness for something that I want.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's embedded, though. It's a desire, Like, I even thought about just completely just taking out the whole uterus. I mean, you know what I mean? So,
get rid of everything. But
you know, but I think to myself, like, would I be happy waking up in the morning knowing that, what if I would have tried again?
Right.
And it would have worked.
Right.
So if I would have just cut out all the chances and options and possibilities, I would not be happy with myself. I'm not happy with how things are, but I do know that it can change. It don't have to always be this way. And it's just...
And it won't be.
Yeah, it won't be. And that's what we stood firm on all this time. I mean, life comes with the tests and trials, man. This is all marriage, you know what I mean? So...
I respect that. I respect the fact that y'all aren't giving up, and that y'all are continuing to keep the faith alive inside you, and you really believe it. That's where it starts. Yeah. That's definitely where it starts. Okay, we're gonna take a break.
All right.
And we're back. All right. So, as a woman going through multiple miscarriages, did you ever feel like you weren't complete? Mm-hmm. That you, that you didn't complete your purpose, pretty much.
Right.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do, and that's something I'm fighting every day. I think every woman that goes through a miscarriage, they're gonna have those doubts. They're gonna have the self-talks, like, am I like working correctly? Like, right. You know, like just all types of things that run through your head and make you feel like you're not capable of having a child, which that's what I'm created to do. It's just, it's hard when your body does not react the way it's supposed to. And it's hard to explain, even, you know, to my spouse or whatnot. It's like, I don't know, you know, I guess we just got to figure it out from here. But, oh, yeah, it's man, I think it's 100 times deeper for a woman.
Right. Okay, let's get back to your business. So how do you plan or intend to help these families, these couples, these marriages, like through that?
Well, we are starting our own podcast. Okay. We have our website and whatnot, but my dream is for us to have like 24/7 supports where people can call in like late at night when they're going through their little times or stuff like that, and they can also refer back to our podcast or our videos, so that it's always constant talk about it, so people won't just feel alone, like, oh, well, I gotta search on YouTube or search Google for answers. Well, what we want to do is like have updated research information on our website so people can just look and see like, what is a miscarriage? Like, why is this happening? They will have all the information they need. They have all the type foods that they need to eat to get pregnant, to conceive, to stay healthy, exercise, everything. So that's our main focus, is we can't help the problem or fix the problem, but what we can do is guide people in the right direction so they won't be in that slump of just being like, oh, I just feel hopeless. And, you know, that's what our podcast is really like, motivating people to get out of that and get back to their normal selves and get back to, if you want to try again, do it. If you want to take another option, adoption or whatever like that, do it. But it's pretty much getting people out of that, because we know how that dark space feel, and sometimes you can be there for years.
Right.
You know.
Are any of these services going to cost?
No. Because
that's what we're aiming to do, is to provide services mainly just so people can talk to someone. Yeah. There's times when talking to your spouse may not be the number one option that you want to explore at the time, because you know what you're going through, and if you start talking to them about that, and it's going to have them going in another slump. Yeah. You want to speak to somebody outside who can help you, and not just like a a therapist or someone who has not gone through that, someone who can not only sympathize but empathize with you because they've been through the exact same thing.
Okay.
And that's what we want to get to, that point. So right now we're starting to bring light to the situation and steps to move forward for people who are trying to continue their journey with having children after they have lost. But later on down the road, after everything progresses, we have a support group, a network of people who have gone through these things, and they can actually speak to these people who are going through it while they're going through.
Okay. Now, we've gone through how you guys met, you guys being married, how long you've been married for, the trials and tribulations of going through multiple miscarriages. But still, I have to ask, why, like, people listening out right now that may be going through this situation, and they just have, like, one more question to ask y'all. Why should I put my trust in you two to possibly guide me through such a devastating situation? Like, what do you guys offer that I can't just get from just Googling stuff myself? Like, why should I listen to y'all?
Because we already did it. We Googled, we researched, and a lot of times it's hard to find answers, and it's hard to find the right person to talk to in that particular moment. So what we're offering is open door, open arms. We offering like closeness so that you can be able to relate to someone who actually been through that pain, not once, twice, but 3 times. I don't know anybody that is outside of never having a miscarriage that can sit down and talk to me and be like, oh, well, this, you should do this and that. You have to have somebody that relates to that type of pain and that can sit with you and be like, okay, I understand everything that you're feeling, but let me help you get from that point to where you need to be, especially if you're trying to keep having children. You got to get out of that mindset. And if we did it together, then this is proof that, you can do it as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's the number one thing, in my opinion, is that it's not just a random person. There's someone there that you can speak with, that they have gone through it. They have done the research already. And of course, you can go Google and find all this stuff and find people to talk to. But we are a God-fearing couple, and we put our faith in God first. And that's the route we're going, and that is the example we're trying to set. So with all the stuff that we're trying to provide, with all of the resources we're giving, we're just trying to reach out. Not even, it's for the next person's well-being. Right. We're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for everyone else.
I wouldn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it is a very a selfless act that y'all are doing.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself to the people to help them.
Yeah. And it's hard even in that, because it's to me, he hates when I say it, but it's embarrassing. It's shameful. It's like being married 3 times and then want to go back and do it again and again and again. But, we're putting ourselves out there. If this was my thing, I wouldn't want to do it. But because I know what God has told us to do with our business and how confident we are in this, it's like we already know this like the back of our hand. We can talk to somebody and help them through the same thing. Okay. So this is not easy.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
And this is a very honest and blunt question. When you guys first met, I'm sure you had thoughts of having kids in your mind,
right?
Either before or after you guys had met. With the possibility of not being able to have natural kids, like from your wife, is that something that in the midst of those 3 miscarriages that you had to really think about, like this is not exactly what I wanted?
Oh yeah, so
is this grounds to go look for it somewhere else?
So
because I've heard situations of people leaving because of somebody not being able to provide a kid, either be the wife leaving because the husband, sperm's not working properly, or vice versa. So is that something you thought about? Like, Not now, but
Okay.
in the past.
Yeah.
So you talk about like in this relationship. Have I ever
Yes,
thought about
in the
that?
relationship.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. And we actually had that conversation several times. And she was on the other side of the fence saying, maybe you would want to because, and
Right.
I never, because I told her this so many times throughout our relationship, that, hey, it's you and me versus the universe. I'm not leaving you no matter what. I know that there's obstacles that we're going to have.
Yeah.
We're going to have disagreements. We're going through this for the third time. No, I don't believe that's grounds to leave even anyone to leave in any marriage, because that's what marriage is.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you, like, how do you feel about that? Like the man or woman opting to leave because, you know, one of the two can't help produce a child. Like, do you think that's valid for somebody to leave?
No. Because
No?
what did you get married for?
So
You know what I mean?
did you get married like,
It's
hey,
like-
I'm marrying you just to have children?
Yeah.
It's like this. If something were to happen to him, then I'm expected to be there for him till death do us part. So if he lose any of his limbs, if he goes to a vegetable state, guess what? We're married. We're still married.
Right.
There is no separation. But I had to learn this along the way because I thought the same thing too. Something bad go on in the relationship or the marriage, I'm out.
Right.
you can't produce children or anything. I'm out. But then
Yeah.
again, I started to understand, like, no, that's the easy way to go. And marriage, I'm telling you, it's such on a deeper level than what people nowadays see it as. And I hate how this generation even looks at marriage or even looks at the whole being pregnant by someone and just out there having kids by any and everybody. If we go back to the basic grounds and the boundaries of marriage and keep it there, we ain't got nothing to worry about. We really don't. So that's just how I view marriage. I mean,
Okay. Question for you. All right. So, hypothetically speaking, let's not even put it on y'all. Let's say a couple is married for 20, 30 years, both of them like around 40, 50 years old. Let's say the husband dies. How long do you think, do you think is the proper time until the woman gets back out there?
it's whenever
She's like
you're ready.
45 years old.
I think it's whenever that person is ready. I ain't saying like go the month after he died and find somebody else. But
Is there a standard grace period that should be held before she's able to go out and date?
No, so that's my opinion, all based on how their marriage was, right?
Yeah.
So depending on how they were together, it will determine how long she feels she needs to take before she's ready to go
right.
on. Like some people are really lovey-dovey and they can't live without a person, can't go, well, not live without a person. They can't spend 1 second away from them.
Right.
So it's going to be harder for them to move on if they ever do, and it's going to take longer. Some people, they're in a marriage and they understand that certain things may happen, or if it's some situation that may be inevitable, they may have this discussion while they're both around that, okay, if this happens, I'm okay with you doing this as long as you're ready to move forward.
Right.
So it really is just on the couple and how their marriage was prior to.
Right.
Okay. I know there's a such thing as a postpartum depression. Is there a term for like post-miscarriage depression, or is it just called post-miscarriage depression?
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, everybody dress it up as all these different names, but depression is depression.
Right,
So I
right.
You know what I
think
mean?
the postpartum, I
So-
think that may be the same term for both.
The same
Yeah.
thing?
I think so.
Because I mean, okay, so I guess that makes sense. Because if you have the baby,
Yeah.
you have the baby. If you don't have the baby, you still gotta, you
you
still gotta
still
go in there and
kinda-
do something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So okay, I
Yeah.
guess it's same thing.
So yeah, just like what I was mentioning before, your body is still hormonally balanced for child. So
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So this is my last question. It's my last question. So the theme of today's episode was let's stay together. So through the trials and tribulations you guys have faced in your marriage, even outside of the miscarriages, including the miscarriages, what was some of the key things that brought y'all to the same to the same place of let's stay together? Like what brought y'all back to that point out of all that's happened in you guys' marriage?
I would say our faith. We believe in God. And somehow, we have our bad times, we have times like this, and we have our really good times. Before we moved here, we was living good.
Explain that a little more though. You said we believe in God. Like, what do you mean by we believe in God as it pertains to that?
Well, what we believe in is our marriage is bounded by God. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we do, we're trying to please Him. And I believe that, me pleasing my Father and me worshiping Him and, whatnot, I'm actually pleasing my husband. I'm following his rules, and from there, he's teaching me how to be a wife. With everything else, it doesn't even matter. Like, I try to be a wife for him, and vice versa. So it's like the love that we have comes from because how God has matured us in our marriage. So.
Okay, what about you?
So, us staying together and getting back to that, it has to be rooted in God, because every person on this planet has their own opinion of things. Mm-hmm. But what is the same and will never change is God's word. So that's what we have to stay rooted in. So despite how we feel on the day-to-day, despite the ups, downs, trials that we go through, we stay rooted in the word. Regardless of what changes around us, we are firm and we stay the same and we stay together. And we take marriage seriously. It's not just hey, I'm just doing this just cause for the time being. We're not trying to be like, hey, a celebrity marriage. Like, hey, we did a movie together and we're going to get married. And then, the movie's out and it made a lot of money. Let's get divorced, because it's not like that. That is a covenant that you're making with one person because you're no longer separated. You're become one single person. And if everyone looks at marriage in that sense, in that light, then I think marriages would last longer.
Okay. Yeah, and change your perspective too, because it doesn't have to look like everything else out here on TV and stuff like that. What you guys build is what you build together, and that also comes with two. It's a teamwork type thing. So it can't be just one sided. One person is trying and the other person is barely, there.
Right.
So like, it takes work and it takes commitment, and it's an everyday thing. And that's another thing that we want to talk about too constantly, because nowadays people jump into marriage and they got all these expectations, but they don't know, like, hey, well, what if things don't happen that way? What if, because you don't know what you're getting into. We didn't even know this. If I knew that miscarriage was in my future, I would have never tried for a child. Never. But because this is our cross that we're bearing, it's like, well, this is what we're going through. So are we going to give up on each other? Should we? Why? We had good times together. We can't have bad times together. We can't get through it, So to me, that's what builds marriage. And since these miscarriages have happened, we have gotten closer. You know what I mean? Like, I love my husband. Oh my God, I love this guy so much. He makes me smile even through all this stuff. So this is what marriage is, getting through this ugly, dark, nasty side of it and seeing the other side and like, Dad, we got through it. How we get through it? That's crazy.
All right.
So that, I can go on and on about marriage, but I'm going to stop it there now.
So for me, with that, it all boils down to a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
You choose this. You have to choose this. Everyone chooses to make decisions every day, so you have to choose to stay married. And your choice has to be rooted, and it has to be decided upon based on solid foundation. And that's where God comes into it.
God bless. God bless. Well, I appreciate y'all stopping by today. I think we learned a lot about y'all individually, together, your business, your values, where you stand. I want you to shout out your business one more time.
All right, cool. Our business is Fearless MG. Our website is fmgworld.store, and that is for everybody to just go there and pretty much get all the information that they need. Yeah. We're going to start our podcast pretty soon, so we're going to be putting up videos. Like I said, resources is going to be there for the support of anybody that's, going through any type of loss. So, yeah. Okay,
website will be in the description. Where can they find y'all at if they want to follow you on social media, if y'all are open to that?
Oh, yeah. So that is also going to be included, too. We have a Facebook support group. I have to get all that information. We're brand new. So
that's okay. It'll be in the description below.
Okay.
But thank y'all for stopping by again. I wish y'all nothing but success. Hopefully I get to talk to y'all again when everything is up and running.
Yes.
And until next time.
Yes.
There's a lot of money being made. There's a lot of money being lost. Make sure you're on the right side of history. And just remember, you create your own luck.
Everything happens for a reason.